Sakakini Palace is one of the oldest palaces in Egypt. It was built in 1897 AD by Habib Pasha Sakakini. The palace is located in Sakakini Square in downtown Cairo, specifically in the densely populated Al-Zahir area. The area surrounding the palace was later known as Sakakini District. Sakakini Palace was built by Italian architects who came specifically to participate in its construction. Different styles from around the world intermingle in it, and it is considered a model of Rococo art. The area was named after the palace's owner, Habib Pasha Sakakini, Gabriel Habib Sakakini, 1841 to 1923. He was born in Damascus, Syria, and arrived in Egypt at the age of 16 to 17 to take up a job at the newly established Suez Canal Company in Port Said. For the next 4 years, this Syrian worked for her for a paltry sum of 3 to 4 French francs a month. He eventually moved to Cairo. It was for economic development rather than for health reasons, as legend has it. Habib al-Sakakini caught the attention of Khedive Ismail when he shipped packages of hungry cats by camel to the rat-infested area of the Suez Canal. Within days, the rodent epidemic was solved. Given his quick-wittedness, inventiveness, and initiative, the Khedive, using this resourceful Syrian, assigned him the daunting task of completing the construction of the Khedivial Opera House. Working under the Italian architect Pietro Avascani, Sakakini worked on a 3-shift system of 8 hours each for the next 90 days. He succeeded, and the construction of the Opera House was completed in time for the arrival and visit of European royalty to Egypt for the grand opening of the Suez Canal on November 17, 1869. The Khedive was generous in a way that was beyond measure. Henceforth, construction and public works contracts could not fail because they were managed by and in the Sakakini way. At the age of 39, Habib Sakakini received the Ottoman title of Bey, and it was approved in Constantinople by Sultan Abdul Hamid. 2 decades later, on March 12, 1901, Rome's Leon XIII granted Sakakini the papal title of Count in recognition of his services to his community. He eventually became one of the wealthy contractors of the time and played a prominent role in the digging of the Suez Canal. From his title, Sakakini, it is said that he made his fortune before working in contracting from the trade of knives and weapons. He built the palace on a plot of land granted to him on a pond called the Pond of Sheikh Kamzi Al-Zahir. The palace was built in the Italian style, as it was built by an Italian company commissioned by Habib Pasha Sakakini to be a copy of the palace he saw in Italy and fell in love with. He chose an attractive location for his palace, from which 8 main roads radiate, and thus the palace became a central point in the region. It was not easy to obtain such a location at that time, but Sakakini Pasha's relationship with the Khedive facilitated this task. The palace, with its conical domes and Byzantine design belonging to the Middle Ages, now seems out of place among the modern buildings and the heavy crowding. A look at the palace from the outside will never give the correct impression of its vast area, as the palace was built on an area of 2,698 square meters, includes more than 50 rooms, and reaches a height of 5 floors. The palace contains more than 400 windows and doors and 300 statues, including a bust of Habib Pasha Sakakini at the top of the main entrance to the palace. Despite the small size of the gardens surrounding the palace, it helped isolate the palace from the modern buildings around it. In 1923, Habib Pasha Sakakini died, and his wealth was divided among the heirs who gave the palace to the government. One of Sakakini's grandsons, who was a doctor, donated his share to the Ministry of Health, which was not qualified to inherit such a palace. In 1961, the Health Education Museum was moved from Abdeen to Sakakini Palace by order of the governor of Cairo. In 1983, a ministerial decision was issued by the Ministry of Health to move the Health Education Museum to the Technical Institute in Imbaba. Some of the exhibits were moved to Mbaba, and the rest was stored at that time in a basement under the palace. This palace was registered as an Islamic and Coptic monument by Prime Ministerial Decree No. 1691 of 1987 to be placed under the care of the Supreme Council of Antiquities. Today, the palace is open to visitors, most of whom are art students, who spend long hours studying the statues and decorations that fill the palace. It is enough to wander through the palace's corridors and empty rooms to feel the awe and magnificence of the place and inhale the scent of bygone glory.